friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And I'm here for another craft time chat. And for those who are new, craft time chat doesn't mean I'm showing you how to do crafts. I do have videos on that. Right now I'm working on a patchwork skirt, and I have several videos showing how I do the patchwork skirt that have kind of morphed along the way as I've developed and perfected my process here. So if you want to learn how, check out the whole series on that, because I show all the different things and how I've changed. But that's not what this is about. My craft time chats are simply a way that I can come in here and sometimes just chat about whatever, random topics. Typically I'll have a singular topic that I try to focus on. That's just the way I do it. Danny has his porch time chat, Jay Noel has his coffee time chat. And so I figured I'd have my craft time chat. So I started this back 3 years ago, not long after I started my channel. Well, what I wanted to talk about today, and it might be my main topic, or it might just be one of several, depending on how this goes. I'm just going to get on here and start talking. But one of the things that I think about a lot, and I struggle with, and I'm sure we all do, is finding contentment where we're at in various things. And finding contentment, being content, and learning how to be so, no matter where you are in life, no matter what your situation, no matter what your health, it's once you can do that, and you're always going to face new challenges where you're going to be like, oh wow, I wish I had, I wish I could, I wish I whatever. And so each day may be different. So we may each struggle all the time, and we have to get a hold of it, and that's where I'm at. But when we can find that contentment, not only does it help bring us peace and comfort and just in general happiness, one of the other benefits of it is it also helps us to be more frugal. Think of it this way. If you're constantly coveting what your neighbor has, which we know the Bible says not to do that, then we're more apt to spend and waste money on things that we don't need. And so being content with what we have is a great way to save money. Really, who cares about carrying a fancy cup of coffee and trying to fit in because so-and-so keeps posting photos of themselves on Facebook carrying their brand name coffee and wearing their ultra cool in style sunglasses, or they have an iPhone and you just have a simple flip phone, and it might make you feel like you're not part of the in crowd, or you're not cool enough, or you're not good enough because you don't have all those things. Well, I used to kind of feel that way about things when it came to style and fashion for a while. Not horribly so. I always kind of had my own style, but I had my moments where it's like, well, gee, I wish I had this, or I wish I had that. I must not be cool enough or good enough because I don't. Well, I'm so glad that I was able to free myself from that, and now I just kind of laugh when I see people brag about their things, and it's like, that's cool. I'm happy for them, but I'm certainly not jealous. So I found a lot of freedom getting past all that and being content with what I have. I guess the thing is just realizing that, what do you have? Be grateful for your blessings. Do you really need that smartphone? If it wasn't for YouTube, I wouldn't need a smartphone at all. The only reason I finally invested in a smartphone was because my little dumb phone was really kind of starting to have problems. And then our camcorder, our old camcorder we used for dance shows for years, started having issues, and it still works, but we just never know when it's going to give us problems. And so we decided to go ahead and invest in a refurbished smartphone so that I can have something to shoot videos, and that's what I've been using for a while now is my iPhone for that. But it's a refurbished phone. I didn't go fancy schmancy, and I got the oldest model I could to get the cheapest price, which was $100, and I've been using it for well over a year now. So, and I'm happy with that, and I wish it could last forever so I wouldn't have to get another one someday. I'm so glad that I was able to free myself from that. But then what happened? Now and from the clothing thing, I was able to say, you know what, I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm going to wear the style of clothes that I like, that suits me, my lifestyle, my body shape, and just what I like, period. These two tops you might have seen in one of my latest videos, I just got at garage sale for 25 cents a piece. So this whole ensemble up here, 50 cents. The skirt that I'm wearing is the same brown skirt I made 3 years ago from a 50-cent garage sale find sheet. It ended up getting a couple holes over time because working in them, it just is going to happen. I sold a few patches on there and sold a few more just to make it look cute. And yeah, and I have a video on how I did that skirt. I'll go ahead and link to it right up here. And oh yeah, and the leggings I'm wearing under this skirt, I made myself. And so I'm happy with that. If people want to laugh, I really don't care. I absolutely do not care because I feel like I can laugh right back that they are the ones that are fashion victims, that they feel that they have to fit into whatever the latest style is. We should be able to be happy and content in what we wear and what we have and the rigs that we drive. That's another one. Oh, if you don't have the latest brand new rig, and we used to kind of feel that way too. Well, we haven't bought a brand new truck or vehicle since we bought our 2002 GMC Sierra, and we love that truck. It's been a great truck. We've had it for, we've had it for 17 years and have no desire to get a brand new truck. Now if it finally just quits one day, well, okay, maybe, but we probably won't buy brand new. We've bought a couple of vehicles since then, but they were well-used vehicles that we were able to pay cash for. One was the little Geo that Pat bought for commuting, and then the other is the last Toyota pickup that we have. Both of them used, got good prices on them, and we were able to pay cash. It's a lot cheaper in insurance around here to insure a second-hand vehicle than one that's brand new. So to me, it's like, you know, if people want to laugh when we're driving the little Geo or whatever, they can just go right ahead and laugh because we're not in debt. And we're happy with that. I'm not saying that every now and then I don't see a really nice truck or a really nice car or whatever that I think would be nice to have, but I'm actually more happy being debt-free and having rigs that are dependable and they run. So let's get to the issue that I tend to deal with more and I have a hard time with, and you know, I'm just being dead honest with you. And that is, let me give you a little bit of history. Now, if you've seen one of my craft time chat videos I did not too long ago was called Time Management and How We Earn an Income. And I talked more about YouTube, and I'm going to recommend you go check that out in tandem with this, you know, maybe after this is over. I'll link to it up here in the iCards so that you can have a better understanding of how YouTube works and how much time it takes. But I will try to put it as simply as possible. First of all, when I started my channel, it was mostly just to be able to share information and get it out there. I didn't care about making money directly off YouTube, though I hoped it could develop into something that could be another job to replace the fact that I wasn't teaching dance or martial arts anymore. I was hopeful that that could happen, but I wasn't really sure how, or, you know, I was just kind of depending on the Lord to lead in that way. And as the subscribers started growing, and I was thinking, wow, this is kind of cool. I just never even knew how it worked. I didn't really know that my channel could grow or really get very many subscribers at all. I mean, when I first started, I would have been shocked to think that I could ever even have 1,000 subscribers. And then 10,000 seemed like that was an unreachable goal. But I thought, well, that would be kind of cool if I could get 10,000 subscribers. And eventually, yeah, we did. We got 10,000 subscribers. It took us a year and a half to get to 10,000 subscribers. So when I first started, I thought, well, gee, you know, if I could get 10,000 subscribers, that would really be cool. You know, and I figured it would take forever to get there, but, you know, then that would be a long, long wait. And then, of course, by the time I got to 10,000 subscribers, I was like, oh, man, I can't wait to get to 20,000 subscribers and so on and so forth. And, you know, here we are 3 years later, and we have At the time that I'm shooting this video, just under 32,000. And you know what? That is a very, very cool. And I know to some people that would be like, wow, you got there fast. On the other hand, me, being me, which I suppose is just being human, you know, I see channels that have only been going for a few months that are already surpassing us in subscribers. And here I've been at it for 3 years, and I've been busting my rear, working really hard to get here. And I sit there and think, how did they do that? And I've worked so hard to get where I'm at. I mean, honestly, truly have worked hard to get where we're at. And I start to get a little depressed, and there's that comparison going on, and there's that not being content, and I'm allowing somebody else's success to make me feel like I am less than. And the Lord's really been working on me in this one. And every time I start to get a little bit depressed, the Lord reminds me of this. Remember when you were going to be happy just to get to 10,000 subscribers. You thought if you could just get to 10,000 subscribers, everything will be great. Now you have 3 times that many, and you're not happy, you're not content. And of course, then immediately I feel guilty and think, you know, he's right. I mean, things are good. Things are great. I need to be happy with where we're at. You know, we might not be making money hand over fist. And I know people out there that have maybe half the amount of subscribers we do, or 10,000 less than we do, and they get a lot more views and probably make a lot more money. But so what? I mean, good for them. I need to be happy for them. I'm not saying I'm angry with them or have anything against them, but it's really hard not to let jealousy seep in and just think, wow, I wish I could do that. But anyway, coming back to the whole idea of being content is really, I feel silly, and this is really, in a way, it's kind of hard for me to admit this, that I go through these feelings. I get a little jealous and a little frustrated that I work so hard, and you know, and I've been working so hard at this YouTube thing for 3 years, and then, you know, and I don't seem to be good enough to just where my channel doesn't explode. Oh, and the other thing was, I remember then there was a time where I was thinking, wow, if I could just gain 100 subscribers per week, that would be really cool. And here I am gaining 3 to 4 times that many, and I'm not happy with that? I mean, what? What's wrong with me? Just because another channel is doing better in their growth and in their views says nothing about who I am, about the quality of my content and what I have to offer. It means it's where I'm supposed to be at this time. It means it's where God wants me to be. And if you don't believe in God, then I'm not going to apologize for that. But just take it as it is and look at your own life. And it's like, how can you take what I'm saying and apply it to you, even if you don't believe in the Bible or believe in God? But just keep in mind, I do. This is a big part of my life and who I am. And my faith is a big reason why I'm doing what I'm doing right here on YouTube. And so I will talk about it. So, you know, I don't want to offend anyone, but at the same time, I'm not going to stop talking about my faith just because some people don't like it. And I know that there's some really great people out there that are not Christians or not Bible believers that are very, very cool with it because they realize we're all different, we all have different beliefs, and thank you so much for being that way and not being rude and following me regardless of the fact that I believe very different from you. I really do appreciate that. The Lord keeps humbling me on that, and maybe that's part of it. Maybe He's trying to keep me humble by not allowing my channel to explode the way certain other people's are, or not allowing me to get so many views as somebody else has. But no matter what it is, I keep feeling Him tell me. And I'm not that I try to go by feelings, but I don't want to say that I'm audibly hearing His voice. I just feel in my spirit that the Lord's telling me that be happy and content because you're exactly where I want you to be. And, you know, for the past year, my growth has been the same. It has not, other than when Living Traditions gave us a big shout out one day, and we gained 845 subscribers all in one day. That was unheard of, and that was very much appreciated. Typically our growth is about 300 a week, and it's been that way for a year, and that's okay. It's still steady. It's still, I'm not stagnating. I'm still growing, and I have that to be grateful for. So I use all this, I say all this because I'm just trying to be candid with you and open that this is one of my weak points. This is one of the areas I struggle, and all the time it's like I start to get discouraged and think that I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough because I'm not like so-and-so over here who has a yurt and does this and that and they're just blowing up. Or I'm not as good as so-and-so over here who has this and who has that and they're blowing up. Or whatever it is. And some things I don't know. I don't know why, for whatever reason, those channels blow up. If it's that they're putting more time into advertising their channel, you know, one way or the other. I could spend hours and hours listening to Daryl Eves and some other channels out there that give you all these tips. I don't have time for that because, and that's the thing, is I have to remind myself, I really don't have time for that, nor the desire. Every once in a while I might, oh, let's see what he has to say on this topic. But for the most part, this is how I look at it. And this is why, again, I need to be grateful of where I'm at, is I want whatever growth I have to be based on who we are, the content that we have that we want to put out, and trying to give you good quality content, and obviously learning things as far as video editing and better lighting and better sound along the way, and we're still learning. I tend to learn better just by doing, and I don't know if some of you have noticed, but I have found a way to turn the audio up more in the new editor that I'm using. I could only get it up so high in the old editor, but in the new one I can get it up higher. So I was like, yay, because I know some people say our channel is quieter than others. And so I've been working on it, we really have, and there's nothing wrong with trying to get that better, just to make a better experience for the viewers. But on the other hand, I'm also not going to try to copy someone else and then change who I am in my own style, because I think that maybe this person's channel is growing because they have this personality or because they do these kind of videos. Well, if those kind of videos have nothing to do with me, why should I do that? If it's not something I want to do, why should I do that? I should stick with what I believe is right for me, especially if it's anything that might compromise my standards. And I don't want to do that either. I think it's kind of fun once in a great while to do a video, an outing video, but that's not what I want my channel to be about. You know, if people like that and we happen to be going out and doing something and I think you might be interested, sure, I'll put together a video, but for the most part, that's not what my channel is going to be about. Where some people's channels are all about their grocery hauls, and if people like that, that's great. I have nothing against that, but it's just not something you're going to see us doing much, except for when I feel like it. Because the whole idea of my channel is supposed to be about encouraging people to make the most of what they have, whether it be living in an apartment or living in a corner lot like we are. I mean, we may have that other piece of property now, but it's going to be a while before we ever get around to doing anything with it as far as expanding our homestead. If we ever even do that, we may just keep it a place that we can use as a place to escape and have some fun family times together. But regardless, we're still going to keep making the most of where we are right here. And so that's one of the goals of my channel, is to encourage people to do that, to teach people how to be more natural and more healthy, and how to grow things and make things that can help cure and heal their bodies, so they can get off of, or at least reduce their dependency on big pharma. These are my goals. The dog's kicking the camera, that's why it's wiggling around. Of course, teaching you ways that you can be more just independent of whatever, being more independent of the store, just being more self-sufficient in general, learning how to do things for yourself, or to be more creative. So that's where my channel is. Now, I didn't want to spend the whole time just talking about that, but I'm sharing that with you because that is those are the things I deal with. Now, maybe you're one of those that looks at, well, gosh, I wish I had as much space as Heidi and Patrick have, you know, on their little 1/3 acre corner lot, because maybe you live in an apartment, you know, and someone like in a place like ours and like us might be going, gosh, well, I wish I had a 1 acre piece or a 5 acre piece or a 40 acre piece. And I'm not saying we don't still wish for those things. Even with our little 1 acre piece over there, I can't help but look at the pieces of land around it and how much I'd like to buy those up too. And then again, I have to catch myself and say, if that's what God wants us to do and it's right for us, it's going to fall together just like this little piece did out here. And it happened the way it was supposed to have happened, and we waited years for this, for something like this to come along. And then as I start to kind of look and say, wow, it'd be nice to have that piece over there too, or this piece over here too, I have to stop myself and say, well, if that comes together, great. But if not, turn around and look at what you have and remember how grateful and happy you were to get this in the first place. And that's what we got to keep doing. So coming back to the apartment living thing, if you're living in an apartment, think of Tina over at Tina's Tiny Living. She lives here in Forks as well, and she's been doing more and more to make herself be both more self-sufficient and doing as much as she can in a more homestead kind of mentality right where she's at, and she's making it work. And now she's got a whole garden, because even though she doesn't own that land, the landlord was very cool to allow her to take a big chunk and till it up and start planting stuff. And so you just never know what you can do. But even if you can't do that, still be grateful for what you have, because maybe you have some skills that other people don't have. Maybe that person over there that's got 40 acres has no idea how to shop frugally for clothes or look secondhand, or maybe they don't even have good places to go shopping secondhand for things. Because you know what? Fine, just like this 50-cent top and the 50-cent skirt that I'm wearing, you know, 25 cents, 25 cents, and 50 cents. And then I made this, you know, for the fabric that I made my skirt that I'm wearing. I mean, so a lot of people don't know how to do that. They don't know how to shop that way, or they don't have a good garage sales or secondhand stores around them. Or maybe you don't know how to sew, but the person that can make all their own clothes, maybe they don't know how to cook from scratch and you do. And if maybe you don't know how to do any of that stuff, well, you can learn. There's always room for improvement, no matter who you are or where you are in life. Maybe you're handicapped, or maybe you're really ill and you can't do a lot of moving around and getting out and gardening. Maybe you have the space, but you don't have the physical capacity to do that. But what can you do? Maybe you can, you know, sit and do things by hand. Like crocheting is one of those things that's really, you know, once you learn how to do it, that's something you can do sitting, standing, walking, running. I've actually used to jog around the room here back, you know, before we had all this other stuff in here, and used to crochet and jog at the same time, walk or jog. But maybe if you can't do that, you can still sit there. You can do crocheting anywhere. You can do crocheting while you're in the rig traveling. I usually save my crochet time for when I'm going to sit and relax anywhere or on a road trip, and that's when I work on my crochet projects. And so and I have videos on how to crochet 101, so how to get started. And if you're interested in that, I'll go ahead and link to the playlist right up here. But anyway, there's always something that you can learn. I mean, look at me. I have the spinning wheel over here. I still have yet to make time, because I haven't had it, to learn how to spin my wool. Well, it's not my wool that I bought or that was given to me, to spin it into yarn. And I also don't know how to knit yet. Those are things that I'd like to learn how to do someday. And I have knitting needles, and I have a book on how to knit. And one of these days I plan to do it. Let's say I I get injured and something happens and I can't do all the things I'm doing right now, well, that might be the perfect time for me to be able to just sit and learn how to knit, or sit down at that spinning wheel and learn how to spin. This is another reason why, though I really have a hard time even just making time to watch other people's videos, another reason why it's not as important for me to do that is that I don't want their style to cramp my style. Because coming back to, I want to keep what we're doing here real, and I like recipes, for instance, whether it be skin cream or lip balm or food recipes or whatever it is, fermenting things. I like to come up with my own ideas, and I like to experiment. And if I spend too much time watching other people's videos, I feel like that I might start doing too much of that comparison and thinking, oh, I should do it this way or that way, when I really like the idea of being creative and unique. Because I don't, just like my style, I want my style, the clothing I wear, to be unique. I want my style of videos and the things that I do in it to be unique. And so I think if we allow other people's creativity and other people's methods, if we get too caught up in that comparison, not that, I mean, if you have something to learn from it, great, but still you should be able to take that, just like I always try to say in any of my cooking videos or crochet videos or whatever it is, that, take this and, be creative with it. Come up with your own style. Come up with something that suits you. Maybe some of the recipes I have meat or cheese in them and you're vegan, or have gluten in it and you're gluten-free. Well, you should be able to take a lot of that stuff and be creative and come up with your own ideas. Even though I do try to throw out vegan and gluten-free ideas while I'm at it, it's learning how to be creative, and don't let me or anyone else cramp your style. And just like I don't want anyone else to cramp mine, or have me start feeling like, oh, I got to do it their way. And there's a lot of things, and I'll get the occasional person. They're usually not people that are subscribers. They're usually that random person that's kind of rude that comes in and wants to tell you you're doing it wrong. Well, a lot of times you'll find out when people come in, whether it be in your real life or on Facebook or on YouTube, and tries to tell you you're doing it wrong, they're probably not doing it at all. It's a very good chance they're not doing it at all. And sometimes people, when they do that, they're just saying that because either if they are doing it, maybe it's the only thing that they do, and so they want to feel like they're important by telling you that you're doing it wrong, even if what you're doing works for you. And that's why I don't do that to other people. I don't come in there and say, you're doing it wrong, because I'm like, well, okay, it's not the way I do it, but if it works for them and it's more suitable for them that way, or especially when it comes to gardening, I always just assume the way somebody does something when they're gardening, it has to do with the kind of soil they have to work with, the amount of land they have to work with, and the climate that they're in. I can't assume that their way is wrong just because it's not how I do it. So remember that too. That comes back again to, don't let other people cramp your style, and be content and happy where you're at, and make the most of it. Doug and Stacy do a lot of videos, or they mention quite a bit about making the most of where you're at. They don't expect you to have the kind of land they have and be totally off grid like they are. It's just all about them showing this is what they do, this is how they do it, and find what works for you. And every little thing that you do counts. Every little thing you do to be more self-sufficient. I mean, we're not fully off grid, we're partially off grid. And I just did a video on that too, and I'll link to that right up here. And I talk about the benefits of kind of having the best of both worlds. And right now I'm liking it. Sometimes I think I would love to be completely free of of anything that comes from the county or the city. I would actually really love that. And other times I'm like, no, I'm really grateful we still have both. We have our rainwater and we have our city water. We have our solar power and our treadle machines and things like that, but we also have public power, and we try to use them both wisely. So I guess I probably repeated myself several times, and I think I've made the point that I've tried to make, and I know I've rambled quite a bit, but I just want to leave you with this. I'm going to have a scripture at the end. I want you to make sure that you stay and read, especially if you're a Bible believer. Just remember to find that peace and that contentment, and don't compare yourself to me. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. Compare yourself to what you believe God wants you to be, because God's going to have a different design and a different plan and a different layout for each individual family and each person and what he expects from you. And if he wants you to get more land, or if he wants you to learn how to do this and you want to learn how to do with that, then it's all going to fall together. It's all going to happen. And then take the steps. And obviously, start moving ahead on those things. I mean, we can't expect to learn something if we don't try. And the one more thing I remember I wanted to say, it's just like gardening. I didn't go to school to learn how to garden, but people go, oh, you have an incredible garden. And me, I'm like, I see all the things that are wrong with it, but I also see all the things that are right, and those are the things that have been trial and error. Me working and working and working over and over each year, trying something different. And every year I'm still trying different things and still learning new things and still replanning for next year and what I'm going to do differently, and learning how to work with not just my small space, but our very, very wet climate and our weird kind of late summers and all the different challenges, which are different every year. So I didn't go to classes for this. My education happens right out there in the garden, and it's a heck of a lot cheaper than going to college, so I get to save even more money that way. or taking some kind of other paid for class. So remember, the best education is simply doing. And so if you're wanting to know how to do something, then jump in and do it. It'll happen when it happens, and in the right time. And also, it also depends on your motivation level. But again, you may be going through some difficult times that might make it harder, to find the time or the motivation to do certain things. So be patient with yourself, be content with where you're at, and thank God for what you have, for the many gifts you have, be it talents that you have, or the resources that you have, or where you live. Be thankful for that. And I think when we're thankful, God blesses us, and it helps us to find more ways to make the most of what we have. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you found it encouraging. Thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.